Yeah, hi there. These comments are for AG. You're using actually the username Admiral General over at the my YouTube channel. So you made a comment underneath one of my videos. So if I can give my audience a little bit of context here, I posted a video a while back, and the student wants to improve his or her TOEFL score from 73 to 96. And then you made a comment underneath that, and in the video I was giving the student some specific suggestions to help him or her improve the academic English skills so that the student can get a higher TOEFL score, right? So that's kind of our context. So then underneath that video, this is the comment that you made. Hello, Michael. I've scored 64. And I don't know why you're using the present perfect here. It's not necessary. You want to say, I scored 64. So what is exactly the difference between the present perfect and the simple past? The simple past is talking about an action which has a beginning and end in the past. In this case, you took the TOEFL exam in the past. And when you took the exam last month, you got 64. So the simple past is going to work better, especially since you say this. So I scored 64. So you got 13 points in the reading, 17 points in the listening, 17 points in the speaking, and 17 points on the writing area, on the TOEFL exam which I took last month. You say the shocking thing is that I scored 13 on the reading section. I would probably say this. I am shocked, and say I am shocked because most of the time, you might want to say most of the time when I completed because most of the time, probably use a comma here, when I completed the reading practice drills, then you might want to say, you might say speaking and writing section. So this is probably what you want to try to say, but you couldn't say it because of your grammar and your vocabulary limitations. So you say, I'm shocked because most of the time when I completed the reading practice drills, I scored higher on those practice tests than those in the listening, speaking, and writing sections. I totally expected you can probably say here, to score around, I totally expected to score around 23 to 24, but that just happened. I'm about to take it again. But here's the thing, you got it all wrong. I mean, come on here. Why are you taking reading practice drills and things? You don't even have basic reading comprehension. I mean, it doesn't make any sense what you're doing, and now you're telling me you're going to take the TOEFL again. Why? I mean, you need to work on improving your basic English language proficiency skills before you can really start improving your TOEFL score. So I think that everything you're doing here is backwards. Let me just give you some basic things here. So in order to get a high TOEFL score, here's what you have to do. Number one, you have to build your basic academic English language proficiency. That's number one. You got to do that first. 2, then you learn the test-taking strategies for the TOEFL exam. And then you take the TOEFL exam to get your desired score. But, I mean, what you're doing is you're trying to bypass this first step. You're trying to focus more on the test itself when you don't even have the basic English skills to perform things in English. I mean, you gotta think about what you're doing and the order in which you're doing it. We have a saying in American culture, it's kind of like this. It says, don't put the cart in front of the horse. You have to put the cart first, and then the horse goes after the cart. So, you cannot omit this first step. You see what I'm saying? Now, what I want to do is to show you what you can do here to improve your English first, and then we can get into this second step later on. But there's a lot of things you have to do here first. So then, the question is, so can I really improve my score from 64 to 80 to 90 in 1 to 2 months using your methods? No, probably not. I'm going to say I don't think you can do that. It's not reasonable because you have so many problems. I mean, you just looked at what I was trying to rewrite what you're trying to say, and you have so many language use issues, it's sometimes difficult to even get your basic ideas in English. So I don't see you as achieving your results, and you can't really say between 80 and 90. That is a huge range there. Let's just forget this. And what I'm going to do is to give you some ideas on how you can improve your score from 64 to 80. And even then, I don't think it's possible to do it in 1 to 2 months. You're probably looking at least 3 months, maybe as many as 8 months, if you follow my suggestions in this video. If you don't follow these suggestions, you may never reach that score. Because of your study habits and what you're trying to do now, I think what you're doing now is not going to be effective into helping you reach your goals. So, let's talk about reading first just for a minute, and then I'll get into a study plan that I think is going to help you. So first of all, in order to improve reading, you have to do 5 things. I mean, let's face it. I recommend that you write down everything I'm saying here so you can get the main points of what I'm trying to show you. To improve your reading, number 1, you have to start reading more on a daily basis. My recommendation for you is to start reading about 45 minutes every day. Right? You can also study vocabulary. That's the second thing you want to do. You need to build your vocabulary. It takes time. You need to get your vocabulary to about 1,700 to 2,000 vocabulary words. Number 3, you have to improve your reading speed to at least 300 words per minute. Number 4, then, once you've done the first 3 things to improve your reading, and you've done these things over a period of several months, then you want to become familiar with the question types and the test-taking strategies for the different question types during the reading section, and even then during the reading, listening, speaking, and writing sections. You should be familiar with the kinds of questions that you're going to be asked and the strategies for answering those kinds of questions. So that's the 4th thing you have to do to improve your reading. The 5th thing you need to do is to take TOEFL level reading practice tests. But I think that's where you're doing most of your focus, but that's not going to help you that much. Even though you may take reading practice tests or reading practice drills, if you haven't really spent time reading on a regular basis, if you don't have good vocabulary, if you don't have an adequate reading speed at 300 words per minute, no matter how many reading practice tests you take, you're not going to really benefit from that. So that's really how you improve your reading. You see what I'm saying? So what I want to do right now is to focus on what you can do to build your basic and, let's say, an advanced academic English language proficiency. So what can you do exactly to get on the process to improving your English skills? So let's not even talk about TOEFL right now. It doesn't really matter. You need to get those English skills first. Once you've done this kind of practice for a few months, then it's time to focus on the TOEFL. Do you see what I'm saying? Hope some of this makes sense to you. So I already mentioned this first. So start reading every day for about 45 minutes. You can choose your reading materials. And I'm going to recommend that pick materials that you actually have an interest in. And my recommendation for you is magazines, newspapers, and books. All of these things are going to be very helpful for you. Again, as you do your reading each day, you can focus on newspapers, magazines, and books. What I'm trying to do is to help you develop your English for the long term, not just for the test. You see what I'm saying? And that's really what you want to do anyway. Most people need the TOEFL. They don't just need to take the TOEFL test. They need to be able to use English in personal, professional, and academic situations. The second thing you want to do is to practice your listening every day for 45 minutes. Now, if you have English TV, here's my recommendation. Focus on documentary, history, news, and science programs. This will give you some really good listening practice. Now, if you don't have English TV, you can focus on the following websites. Randall's Cyber Listening Lab. This is a good website that you can focus on right now. Now, once you've gone through this one, do the easy, medium, and difficult listening practice exercises. Now, secondly, you can also focus on either National Public Radio. This is a great website, but don't do this one before you do Randall's. Do Randall's first. This is an ESL website. It'll help you with your easy, medium, and difficult listening practice exercises. Once you feel like you can understand everything at this website, then go to National Public Radio. And then finally, if you want, you can go to TED Talks and see some great videos. That's what you want to do. Now, number 3. As you're doing the reading and the listening practice, you need to really focus on your note-taking. In the beginning, as you do this kind of practice, your note-taking will not be complete. It will probably not even be accurate. However, it's a start. So focus on the main and the most important supporting points of the reading and the listening passages that you're practicing. Now, this is important. You want to get the notes down in English in some abbreviated form. As you practice your note-taking, you'll get better and better. Now, it's not just enough to do the note-taking. You now need to make use of these notes. That's the whole purpose of why we have notes, or why we take notes, is we need to use this information for some type of task later on. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to write 3 250-word summaries of the reading and the listening passages that you're practicing. So you see what I'm saying? You're now using these notes from the reading and the listening passages. You're now writing about those notes. Again, this is great practice. You'll not be perfect in the beginning, but you need to be more comfortable writing about other people's ideas. Number 5. You should also practice giving. Give 3, maybe I'm going to say 3 to 5 60-second oral summaries. This is going to be very, very helpful for your English skills. Okay, so think about what you're doing right now. When you do step 4 and 5, you're actually practicing the integrated writing and the integrated speaking areas of the TOEFL exam. But you're not studying the TOEFL directly, but you're choosing certain kinds of materials, reading and listening materials, that you're practicing on a regular basis. And remember that you're choosing things you actually have an interest in. See what we're saying here? Now, the next thing, I think we have a pretty good start here. So what I've suggested so far, and you want to make sure you keep an appropriate focus here, 60% of your time right now that you have to spend for TOEFL study. Now I recommend maybe 3 to 4 hours of study each day for a minimum of at least 3 months, I think, before you really begin to notice some improvements. And guess what? You will notice improvements. I promise you that. In fact, I've had people, you remember I gave you in the beginning of the video, I gave you 5 tips on what you can do to improve your reading. Just that, I've had students follow those 5 tips. They improved their reading score 7 points in about 2 months. Now, I'm not predicting this for you. Everybody's different. We don't all improve at the same rate. I'm just saying that I have seen some results that are pretty remarkable in as few as 2 months. So 60% of your time right now, you're doing reading practice each day, you're doing listening practice. Remember here, do not translate when you do the reading and the listening. You can read and reread if you need to, but don't translate. Don't even worry about words you see that you don't know. The whole purpose here is to try to concentrate on the reading and the listening materials. Your purpose is to not get 100% comprehension. Now, in the next part of the video, in addition to doing steps 1 through 5, I'm now going to explain to you how you can use my online TOEFL course. Now, what I'm saying here is 40% of your time each day you should be spending going through the lessons in my online TOEFL course. Right? So here's my 6th suggestion here. Is first of all, I recommend that you go through the first 3 sections of my course. That means vocabulary, pronunciation, and grammar. You got a lot of problems in vocabulary and grammar right now. I cannot really say about pronunciation. I have not heard your speech. However, if we look at your speaking score, we can probably guess that you have problems with delivery, language use, and also topic development. That's why you're getting the score you're getting here, right? Okay, so this is what you want to do first in my website. This is the basic building blocks to pretty much any language. You need to work on vocabulary, pronunciation, and grammar. I recommend that you plan each day. You might do a vocabulary lesson number 1, maybe pronunciation lesson number 1, maybe grammar lesson number 1. So you're getting a variety of kind of English language activities, so you're not just doing one thing all the time so you don't burn out. Now, once you've completed the first 3 sections of my course, my best guess, it'll probably take you anywhere from 1 to 3 months, probably closer to 3 months. Then you can complete the listening and the reading sections of my course. This is also going to be good practice for you. Remember that you're also doing each day steps 1 through 5, and you can also do steps 6, 7, and so on. Then you can complete the writing and the speaking sections of my course. You can do that once you've done the listening and the reading sections. So this is pretty much it. And then finally, what I recommend is you complete maybe a full-length IBT practice test. Remember that the TOEFL test is 5 hours long, and instead of spending $200 and taking the official TOEFL exam only to find out your score may or may not be where you want it to be, if you take a full-length IBT practice test for a lot less money than the actual exam, you can still get the same kind of feedback. Number 1, you get used to the structure and the format of the TOEFL exam, which is important. Number 2, you develop the strength and stamina that you need for a 5-hour English test. And then number 3, you learn some of the strategies and the actually, now what I would say the third thing is you actually get a score where you can mark your progress. So those are the benefits of doing that. So in conclusion to this video, I may or may not have given you the answers you expected, so let me go back. Can I really improve my score from 64 to 80 in 1 to 2 months using your methods? I'm going to say probably not. I think I said that you are putting the cart in front of the horse, I think, by trying to do the way that you're studying for the TOEFL. Maybe I'm trying to get you to think differently about that. So I gave you some suggestions right now. Again, 60% of your time you're doing steps 1 through 5 right now. Then 40% of your time you're doing steps maybe 6 through 8 here, and then maybe right before you take the TOEFL exam, you can complete a full-length IBT practice test to mark your progress. Then you can make a decision about whether or not you're ready to take the official exam. You see what I'm saying there? So those are my suggestions for you. So my best guess for you is you're probably looking, I think, at anywhere from 3 to 8 months of very serious practice on a day-to-day basis before you're going to reach that goal. It's going to take a lot of study, a lot of practice over several months before you're going to reach that goal. Now, I'm just talking about getting 80, right? Because first of all, you want to get close to 80 first, and then you can figure out what you need to do at that point. All right? And I think, again, I'm going to just refer to you as AG. Those are the initials of the username you're using at my YouTube channel. And good luck to you. And at this point, I'd like to invite you to join my online TOEFL course. Remember that most online TOEFL courses, they do not offer the kind of feedback that I offer. You can complete pronunciation, speaking, and writing practice tests on a day-to-day basis, and you can get written and audio feedback from me or from one of my teaching assistants. And it's very inexpensive, my course, compared to a lot of the online courses out there. Remember, a lot of people, they tell you what you want to hear. That's not what I do. I'm not going to do that. I do not tell you what you want to hear. I have told you 9 steps, 9 specific things that you can do in order to improve your TOEFL score. All right? So anyway, thank you for your comments, and all the best to your high-scoring speaking success.